Hey everybody, welcome back to another movie review. It is late. It is like 11 o'clock at night. So excuse me if I'm not like completely, um, intact. It's just pretty late out. And for reason, I got out of Babylon just now, written and directed by Damien Chazelle, who has done some notable work in the past couple of years, like Whiplash, which is a film I did not see, but I've heard it's pretty good. Of course, famously, La La Land, which I really enjoyed. It's really made its mark in modern film culture. A lot of people bring up that film, it seems. He also did First Man, which I liked. I thought the characterization of Neil Armstrong was kind of uh, 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 distant, but for the most part, I found myself enjoying it. So I find myself a fan of Chazelle's. I think he's a good director. Um, And coming out of Babylon, there are, it's, I think it's pretty obvious, especially getting into the opening minutes of the film, that you are about to see his weakest film. Um, for, if I had to make a comparison for Babylon, it would absolutely be Goodfellas. I think that it takes a lot of inspiration from Martin Scorsese, particularly from Goodfellas, especially when you see the main character, the main male protagonist who, kind of falls in love with Margot Robbie's character, which I don't know why he falls in love with the character. She's like clearly unhinged and coked out. Like, I'm not sure how that's attractive, but whatever. Um, and, his attitudes and his overall transformation from the film reminds you a lot of like Ray Lotto and Goodfellas. And the whole attitude of the film is a Scorsese-esque type atmosphere. Like, it has suggestions of Goodfellas, suggestions of Wolf of Wall Street, which I've not seen fully Wolf of Wall Street, but I've seen some scenes from it, and it definitely provokes that kind of like horny and exaggerative type atmosphere that Scorsese has had glimmers of and suggestions of throughout his body of work, most notably in Goodfellas and Wolf of Wall Street. Primarily in his like gangster like tales. He goes for some exaggerative natures, and then he operates obviously in a lot of subtleties with Raging Bull and Taxi Driver, but he's most notable for his exaggerative type expressions. And Babylon is definitely an exaggerative type of film. Um, it can get very silly, and very redundant. It goes through the same beats over and over again, like exaggerative, subtle, exaggerative, subtle, exaggerative, subtle, and um, I don't feel that the runtime is tedious. I don't. I think that for the energy that it is bringing, I feel that it's, I get, in some regards, worthy of its runtime. Um, but but in getting in the characters, I don't care for any of the characters. I feel that they're all despicable because the film overall is what you would expect. It's about the immaturities of Hollywood and the toxicities that are within the Hollywood system, and in some manner the growing maturities of the filmmaking process um, throughout the years that they show. Um, and while that might be an interesting tale to explore, the characters that we follow are just very unlikable, very unappealing, and just lacking in dimensions and developments. Um, like it just boils down to like Hollywood is bad and Hollywood has bad people in it, and it's just like, it's like we know that, it's not doing anything new or inventive, and the exaggerativeness, like just the opening acts with the parties and all this stuff. I mean, it 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 gets some chuckles and some laughters. Like, I did find myself like having a few chuckles and laughs at certain points, but it's not enough to to make me invested or enthralled. I wasn't. I just found myself very checked out through most of it, and I think visually it's nice. I'm not sure who the cinematographer is, but I think that visually it's nice to look at. And the performances, while again lacking in characteristics and developments, I think that they're compelling to an extent. I think Margot Robbie is the standout. That and the male protagonist that I've been mentioning, Diego Calva, I think that's his name. I think he's a newcomer. Um, Brad Pitt was decent too. So it's like there are good performances, but you know they're not interesting because their characters are pretty non-existent. Um, and it doesn't have the depth to really earn its runtime. It has the energy, but it doesn't have the depth. Um, and that energy fizzles out fairly quickly. Um, and what you get is a film that's kind of operating on the same kind of momentum, um, and hoping that it will keep you, engaged and invested. And to a degree, it does, but without good characters to follow and without a more engaging and compelling narrative, um, I just felt kind of like half listening the entire time. And I just kept moving my feet a lot. Like that's another thing, I was moving my feet back and forth quite a bit because I was not, I was just kind of bored. Um, so, so I think that it has some visual appeal. I think that the energy is good, even though it does get fairly silly and very exaggerative. I don't think it's as raunchy or crazy as some people make it out to be. I think that's just marketing trying to pull people into the theater. Um, there are some stuff that's like that is like, oh, that is funny, but it's small moments, not big moments, and it doesn't make the film into something more interesting. It gives you like a little bit more of an engagement, and then you're back to where you were, where it's listening with one ear almost. So it has some decent performances, and it has a visual sense that's interesting. Um, but the characters are not that I don't really care for any of them. I think that they're all despicable. I think they're all also fairly stupid. Diego's character is just really stupid. Like, I don't understand how you fall in love with someone who is clearly like a hoe and, is coked out. I don't know how you get like entranced or, really turn like I don't know how you find that attractive. I don't know what why you find that attractive. Um And Brad Pitt's character, it's like I don't care about rich boy problems. Oh no, I can't. Nobody really likes me anymore. It's like okay, boo hoo. Um, like it's like you know, like I wish there was more of a strategical edge to this kind of film because I feel that I would have been more engaged in that front. But it's actually taking itself quite seriously in some regards, and some of the style choices also just felt unnecessary. Like it gets kind of abstract almost towards the end, in talking about like film overall and the future of cinema and all that kind of stuff. And just felt like that was like kind of not like what? Why do we need to see all that? Um, I didn't buy the chemistry between Margot Robbie and Diego. I didn't really care. Again, like if it had better characters and if it had a story that I felt that would be more um how should I say it, like more because it's just doing basic shit. It's like, oh, rich people have problems and the system's corrupt, and like it's hitting on stuff that people Hollywood likes to talk about. um I wish that it did a little bit more, inventive, like a satire. I felt that would have been, and to a degree, I guess you could label it Babylon like that, but it doesn't go the extra steps, to where it becomes, much more of that. It just feels kind of nonsensical, exaggerative, just to elicit responses and reactions from you. Like it's almost like the film is like, oh, look what we can do. See, look, there's an elephant. See, look, the this and that happened. See, look, we have tits, we have ass, we have people having sex all over the place. Like, isn't that crazy? Like that's kind of like the feeling that I got with seeing a lot of these scenes. It's not that it has purpose. It's just there for shock value in some respects to cover up the premise. Because when you start to listen to the premise, you're like, oh, like so. So again, visually interesting, performed fairly well, but in terms of a story and overall characters, I just found it kind of a snooze in that regard. And while it does earn its runtime based on from energy, it doesn't when it comes to story. So So that's my thoughts on Babylon. I really think it's his weakest film. In terms of the ones that I've seen, I think it's definitely the weakest. But you guys know your thoughts on Babylon. Did you guys like it? Did you guys not like it? And that's it for me. It's super late, so I'm gonna go home, and hope you guys are having a awesome holiday and stay safe. There was literally a drunk dude in my theater. I don't know why he just decided to pop in for during like halfway through the film. He didn't disrupt the film, don't worry, but I could tell he was drunk. He was like doing the whole like fucking, just like holding on to the wall and stuff like that, and like having a fucking drink in his hand, like the cliche drunk. So, but stay safe out there. Wear your mask, wash your hands, and hope you guys are having a wonderful holiday. And that's gonna be it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until then, I'll catch you guys in the next review. Bye.